Friends, Romans and fellow countrymen, lend me your tongues. Today we're going to make Caesar salad, and we're also going to make chicken broccoli and ziti Alfredo. Stay with us. We are the Anodized Chef. Welcome, Anodized Freaks. We're going to get right into the Caesar salad. I have a 1 head of fresh cut washed romaine lettuce. We're going to put that aside. We're going to work on the dressing. I have 3 anchovies. They're regular standard canned anchovies. I've got olive oil. I've got about a half a cup here. We're going to see how much we need as we add it. I've got a teaspoonful of Dijon mustard. I've got about a tablespoon of vinegar. It's white vinegar. We're also going to add as much as we need on that too. We're going to taste it. In my bowl here to get started, I've got 2 egg yolks, and all I did was I cracked the eggs and I just rocked the yolk back and forth in the shells and got rid of all the whites, left just the yolk, and then I threw them in there. Then I have my favorite kind of cheese. I'm not even going to tell you. You should know by now what kind of cheese that is. Then I've got some croutons here, and these are house-made croutons with some day-old bread, but you can actually buy your favorite breaded crouton if you want, or you can actually make them too. It's up to you. I have 1 lemon that we're going to actually get the juice from, and I have 1 clove of garlic here that we're going to mince into this as well. So let's get right into this. I'm sorry. I also have 2 sauces that go in there. I've got the hot sauce that starts with the T, and I have the standard Worcestershire sauce. We're going to add a dash of each into the dressing as well. So let's go ahead and get started mixing up these yolks. Basically what I've done is I've just kind of scrambled them up a little bit, and then we're going to start to incorporate some of these. The first thing I want to do is get those 3 anchovies in there, because I want them to kind of break down with the fork as I'm mixing. So let's get them kind of chopped up. And you can use a food processor if you want, and it makes life a little easier. But I'm kind of a fan of the chunks, so it's all good. Then let's see. Then we'll get this. We'll get the lemon. Let's get some lemon juice in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the lemon, and we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to squeeze it right into the cup here. We want to reserve that juice. So I'll just take a fork and I squeeze. And the good thing about doing it this way is the fork catches most of the seeds, but you want to be careful going in. Now we're only going to add a half for now, because everything with this recipe is done to taste. Because the reason why I say that is because, now you notice how I'm using the fork here to catch most of those seeds. I'll snap by in here, so we're going to go ahead and make him out of there. Alright, put him back in there. Now, like I was saying, my main thing is I just really want to make sure that we taste everything first, because the saltiness of the anchovies or the acid level of the lemon, all of those things can get thrown off a little bit. So you want to kind of add as you need to the taste. So what we'll do is we'll build a foundation, and before we emulsify with the oil, before we add the oil slowly to this mix, we'll want to taste it and make sure it's all balanced. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull all this stuff aside. We're going to go ahead and mince up this garlic clove. Nothing like fresh garlic in a seasoned recipe. So let's get that dumped right in there. And that's another great additive in there. So I'll smash up those anchovies just a little bit. Mix that in with the garlic. Then I'm going to add that teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Now I've got reserved, and we're switching. We're too close from this one, so we're switching the guns now. So what we're going to do here is I've got the white vinegar, and I've got probably looks like about a little more than 1/8 of a cup, but I'm only going to add about a teaspoon for now. And we'll come back to him too if I need to. And now see, now that whip is going to do some serious damage to that anchovy. Looks like me coming out of the Asking Alexandria show at Rocco's. Holy smokes. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these two sauces here and I'm just gonna kind of go bang and bang. And let's give this a stir and kind of see where we're at. I'm gonna grab a tasting spoon right over Bob's shoulder here. That's perfect. If I start to emulsify now, see, it's more concentrated. I'm getting a lot of Dijon, I'm getting a lot of garlic, and I'm getting a lot of vinegar, I'm getting a little saltiness from that fish. But once I add that oil and start to emulsify it down and make a dressing out of it, it's gonna really kind of smooth everything out. So that dressing's gonna be absolutely phenomenal. Well, this is gonna be the best dressing we've had, I think, by the time we're done. Oh man, is that good. All right, so now to emulsify, there's a technique to it. And it's kind of like making hollandaise sauce. If you watched our breakfast episode, the buffet one, what you do is you just kind of add the oil, or in the hollandaise case, butter, very, very slowly. And what you do is you add a little bit at a time, and you're just constantly stirring. You're keeping the base product, the base stuff moving inside the bowl. And you just kind of drizzle that oil in, and you don't now you'll be able to see it separate. You don't want a separated dressing. You want it to be nice and creamy. So you want to keep whipping, and you pull a little bit of oil in, and you keep whipping, and you incorporate that oil into the stuff that you have in the bowl. And I'm getting the romaine lettuce. Sorry about that. So yeah, you want to keep stirring that oil in, but you want it to kind of incorporate. And if you pour too fast or you pour too much in, what will happen is it'll separate. It'll look like an Italian vinaigrette, and that's not what we're going for here. We're going for sexy and creamy. And that is perfect. Now that was about a half a cup of olive oil. So all those other ingredients I told you, plus the half cup of olive oil, and this is what you end up with. And look at that. That is sexy, sexy seasoned dressing right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this just a little kiss of the edge. And now we're going to take the next step. We're going to go right into the bowl, get rid of him, and we can go into salad dressing, salad making mode. All right, so I'm going to put about a little more than half of that lettuce in there. So probably about a half a head in that dressing now. And start to incorporate some of that. I'm going to throw probably about a cup of croutons right into that as well. And my favorite kind of cheese, you can just grab as much as you like. I'm going to call this a quarter cup. And for you newbies who don't know, it's Asiago cheese. It's in the Parmesan family, but it happens to be my absolute favorite cheese of all time. So then you just kind of toss this, you mix it, and I'll tell you something right here. Julius himself will be proud to serve a salad like this. Now I've got a nice plate here. We'll do it on a nice salad plate. Set this up, and so just like this. And a lot of restaurants, a lot of real cool, classy restaurants will do this right table side. You know, they have a garde-manger or a salad person go right up to the table and build the Caesar right in front of them. That's pretty classy, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so this is our Caesar salad. Now we'll get right into the next segment, which is chicken broccoli and ziti Alfredo. So stay with me, it's gonna be awesome. So someone in your party when you go out to eat almost always orders the chicken broccoli and ziti Alfredo. And a lot of people already know how to make it, but I'm going to show you a nice, easy technique, very simplistic, and we're going to just going to kind of roll with it. It's very, very easy to do, and you can surprise your sweetie by making this at home. So let's get started. We have boneless, skinless chicken breast. I've got about a half a pound of cooked penne rigate. I have the remaining cheese that I used from the Caesar salad. I've got probably, about a cup of broccoli florets, a half a stalk, if you will. I've got some chiffonade basil. We're not going to use all of it. I've got some chopped up parsley. We're also not going to use all of it. That's more or less for garnish. I do have some Parmesan cheese here. Again, we'll talk about how much I put in when we go to put it in. I have a teaspoon of garlic, a tablespoon of butter, and I have about a cup of cream. We're also going to add some of our featured wine as well. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit is about the cream. I've actually worked in a couple of different Italian places This being one of them, being my restaurant here. But one of the places I worked at used half and half and butter mixed together. And you can certainly do that, but what I found that you have to do when you do half and half and butter is you have to end up adding more Parmesan cheese. So you're really not saving on calories if you're really watching your intake. So I've got a cup of heavy cream here. I know, leave it to the Anodized chef to keep it healthy, right? But again, now we don't necessarily have to add as much cheese to bring that sauce together. Now you could do a cornstarch slurry if you're trying to keep it a little healthier. Go with I wouldn't recommend a skim, but I would certainly do half and half, and maybe a cornstarch slurry would help to tighten that up. And then you can finish it with maybe a little bit of margarine or something of that nature. But just to try to keep it healthy. But we're gonna keep it authentic, we're gonna keep it real, we're gonna keep it Italian, we're gonna keep it very, very fat. So let's get into it. We're gonna start with our chicken. And I've got the chicken breast here, and I've already cut some into strips. And I'm going to take this one here and just take a regular standard chicken breast like you see in the supermarket, and I'm just going to cut this one up into strips too. And I'm just basically taking it the long way and cutting it into about half-inch strips. So then I'm going to take it now, and I've got some flour here, about a half a cup of unlisted flour that I didn't tell you about. And I'm just going to kind of toss that chicken right through that. And what I want to do before I go any further is add maybe about a half a teaspoon of the edge to that flour, just to kind of season it up, and they call that a seasoned flour. Go figure, not a big surprise. So let's toss this chicken around, and that looks like it's pretty good. And also the good thing about that flour is not only is it going to give the chicken a nice sear, but it's also going to help to thicken the sauce as well. So it works out, has a couple of different applications to it. So we're going to go ahead and get our pan fired up, and I'm adding probably about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're going to get this good and hot, and then we're going to sear our chicken. We want to get a good sear on that chicken. The goal here is to get a nice, good golden brown color, because what happens is, you've heard me talk about this before if you've watched prior episodes, the brown bits get on the bottom of that pan. And what happens is, when you go to deglaze it with the white wine, which we'll do in a few minutes, all those bits come up, and what are those bits full of? They're full of that flavor of that chicken. So we want to make sure we're adding a lot of that love right back into the sauce. So let's see how this is doing here. The best way to tell if the oil is ready is you just drizzle a little bit of flour right in the pan. And if the flour sizzles, which it's not quite there yet, so we're going to give it just another second. So our oil is good and hot. So I'm going to add my chicken right to that oil, and it starts to sizzle up. You can see it. See the smoke starting to come up there. Just be careful when you're adding this. You can certainly use a utensil, but I'm such a hack that I usually don't. Okay, now it's already starting to sear up pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and add that garlic right to the pan. And that's a good teaspoon of garlic. Don't be afraid of the garlic, because my goodness. And what I'm doing is I'm stirring that garlic up in that oil as well. Now the chicken's starting to get a nice sear. What I usually do is I deglaze right about the time that I flip the chicken over. And oh yeah, well, get a shot of this right here. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. But we want to catch it before the garlic burns, but we want to give the chicken a nice sear, and that is right where we're at. So now is the time to deglaze. So I'm probably going to take about a half a cup of our house wine, which we'll talk about in just a few. And I'm just going to deglaze this pan down. Oh yeah, baby. Some of the garlic got a little brown, but we saved it. Alright, now, this is the point where I want to add probably about a tablespoon of fresh basil. And I want to add my broccoli, because what's going to happen now is that delightful broccoli is going to poach right in that wine. So I've reduced the wine down by about half, and I've deglazed the bottom of that pan so all the bits are up in there now. Now's the time you want to add your cream. Oh yeah, and that just settles everything right down, because cream is so delightful and relaxing. Now, I'm just going to kind of incorporate all that love, all that flavor right in there. Oh man, this is one of the fan favorites. All of my kids, whenever they come to the restaurant, they say, Dad, what's for dinner? And I say, well, what do you want? And they say this. So. It's definitely one of the crowd pleasers, there's no doubt about it. One of the things I'm going to do at this point, and it's be very, very careful, and I usually like to do this with the wine, but I forgot, but I took a half of that lemon that we used in the Caesar, and I cut it in half, so I've actually got a quarter lemon. I'm just going to throw it in there. But the reason why I say be careful at the stage you're putting it in is because lemon and cream don't usually get along very well. So you want to usually add that when you get the wine going, and I actually missed that step. But it's okay to throw it in at this very early stage because the cream hasn't come up yet. But what happens is, normally is the acids from the lemon react with the fats from the cream, and it turns to like a curdly thing. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. You'll say, oops, I screwed it up. But no worries. So now we're coming down here, and everything seems to be coming back up to a simmer here, and we're reducing just a little bit. I'm gonna grab a tasting stick to see how our action is in here. Oh yeah, oh, definitely need some cheese, definitely need some edge. But we're gonna take care of that in just a second. So that was about a cup of cream, by the way. I don't know if I said that. So now we're gonna go ahead and add probably about a quarter cup of grated parm. And that's really gonna help to finish the sauce to the consistency that we want it. So when we go to add our pasta to it. And me being really old school, I leave that chunk of lemon right in there. It's kind of nice for a guest to get that lemon. I added a tablespoon of unsalted butter. And I always add unsalted because the salt is in the edge. So you want the flavor to come through on the edge. You don't want the dish to end up being overly salty. So same thing goes with baking. I find that unsalted, you know, it really depends, but I find unsalted to be more beneficial because you can always add your own salt. So now at this stage of the game, we want to go ahead and shut it down, or at least turn it down low. I don't want to say shut it down because we still have to add our pasta and get that at the temperature, but I just don't want this to roll anymore because we want that butter to slowly melt it. If you start keep rolling it, the butter itself is going to help to shatter that sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and add our room temperature noodles right to this dish here. And this is probably the stage of the game. And now that we're all done with all of our cutting technique and everything, I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to me. Add, let's see, a nice, extremely heavy pinch of the edge, because Bob loves it when I use that description, a heavy pinch. And what exactly is a heavy pinch? I'd probably say about an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon, according to your taste on the salt, pepper, and garlic. Yes, I said it. So we're going to go ahead and give this a toss. Oh yeah, look at the consistency of that sauce. Oh, this is going to taste just like you had it the other night. And we're going to finish it off with some sexy parsley. Probably about a teaspoon or so, maybe a little more. Nice and fresh, just chopped. It's beautiful. And some of my favorite cheese on top. Yes, cheese, more cheese. So let's go ahead and give this another toss here. Just kind of incorporate everything. And then we'll put it right on our plate. Oh! Garnish it with some what? Some more what? And that is it. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the wine. I'd like to say thank you to Worry the Bones, who is our featured artist on today's episode. You can check those guys out at worrythebones.com. They're brand new to the Anodized family. We want to say thanks to those guys. Check them out for sure. You can also follow our show in real time when we're shooting. Like right now, you can be on twitter.com and check us out at Anodized Chef, because we both threw out some pictures of what we were doing. So if you want to stay in real time and follow the show, then you can stay with us at Anodized Chef on twitter.com. And also check out our fan page. We'd love to hear your feedback. We want to know what you guys want to see us do. Go to our anodizedchef.com website and please leave some posts and check it out for sure. We'd love to hear your, we can't do this without you, so but by all means, let us know what you want to see. So without further ado, let's get into the wine. Bob chose a perfect pairing with this. And actually, before we go any further, it's Firesteed 2008 Oregon Pinot Gris. Now, I've never had a Pinot Gris before, but I have to say, I was pretty impressed with this. Right out of the gate, when I took a sniffy sniff, as my buddy Gary says all the time, when I took that first whiff, I said, you know what, I got kind of oak in it, and it's not really a Chardonnay at all. It's actually real. The nose is very, very deceiving, because what happens when you taste it is tons of fruit and it's tons of dry finish, which is a little bit harsher than a Pinot Grigio, but I'm a red drinker, so I like that. So I thought it went really well because it was a very, very bold but fruity. So you got a nice balance of dry and sweet. And to me, that's what it's all about. Like see, that time I got almost like a Riesling. I got so much sweet on the nose on that one that it was almost like a Riesling. But it's just so full flavored. It's so white. You can't go wrong. It's perfect for a nice chicken dish. And I just want to say that I did add some garlic bread to for the pictures. So when you see the pictures come up after we're done and you say, hey wait, you didn't do any garlic bread, that was edited. I did throw some garlic bread in there, so that's more for the plated presentation. But I just wanted to say thank you. I can't do this show without the fan base and the support that you guys give us. I wanted to say thank you for joining me in my madness, my magic, and my mayhem. We will see you next time.